So welcome to the webinar today. Living Trust. We're going to be talking about living trust and why everybody needs a living trust. This is a living trust workshop.
And this is Patrick Finch.
And this is Leah Garcia.
Leah Garcia.
Just a disclaimer, we are not attorneys, so we are not going to be giving legal advice. We are going to be talking about the end game, which is meeting with an attorney and getting legal advice and setting up a living trust and a living will. So any questions you have at the end, if we can't answer them because it's a legal question, we can get them answered for you with our attorney. So,
yeah.
What we do is Leah and I prepare and organize you to get you ready to meet with the attorney, prepare and organize all your stuff, basically, your life insurance paperwork, your declaration sheet, your pension information, your retirement accounts, bank accounts, anything that you have. We help you gather that together. So when you meet with the attorney, you're not digging for what you have. He's able to go ahead and get everything together for you and able to decide what we're going to do. He and you are going to do with it. And you'll have it to put into the trust when everything starts. So you've worked hard to build a legacy. Your stuff, your assets, your estate, everything you've acquired. You've worked hard to get it, and you need it for the things we see on the screen here.
Yeah. Emergency preparedness. If something happens, do you have those resources and plans in place to prepare for an emergency? Probate avoidance, and we'll talk more about that, obviously. Asset protection. You're accumulating this wealth, so how do you properly protect that wealth and building that legacy? This is about creating our wealth, but also creating generational wealth. How are we going to transfer that wealth and avoid, of course, tax avoidance? There are strategies that you can put in place to mitigate and reduce those taxes. We don't mind paying our fair share of taxes. We just don't want to overpay our fair share of taxes.
Which is easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Those costs, those transfer costs, can erode what you have. Erode your stuff, your estate, your legacy, if you don't have proper planning in place. And proper planning, in this case, is a living trust.
Right.
Living trust, what's going to erode it is probate fees, federal estate taxes, state estate taxes, state inheritance taxes, and those are just the taxes.
Right.
What is probate?
You know, it's a court supervised process, and what it basically is saying, we need to assess everything that you have, all of your things that you've accumulated, and now have this strategy to transfer that wealth. It's a court supervised process, and basically the more that you own, the more that you're probably going to own at that time.
The higher your stuff, the higher your estate, the more you're going to have to pay. And there's ways to avoid it, though. Examples of some of those probate fees, appraisal fees.
Yeah.
So everything you have is appraised when you die, not just your home, but your cars, if you have jewelry, if you have anything, all of it, a book collection, all of it is appraised, and you're going to have to pay those appraisal fees. And then once that's all done, then there's the accounting paperwork to go ahead and account for all of it. There's going to be a cost for that. Legal fees, of course, are a very big part of an estate takeaway, and so are personal representative fees, and those typically are courts, banks, and attorneys as well.
And by the way, a lot of times people think that it's just about a simple documentation transfer, but if you're going through probate, it is a very lengthy process that can often times take many, many years and be really costly.
Absolutely, yeah. And then there's estate taxes from the federal government. So what they tax is everything that you own. Everything you have, actually, you're dead. So everything that you've acquired is now taxed. The good thing about the federal estate taxes for Californians, well, we'll talk about the state estate taxes, but for federal estate tax, as of now, the first $12 million in what you have is exempt from any federal estate taxes. So if you have less than $12 million of stuff, you're not going to have to worry about federal estate taxes. However, if you have something under over $5 million, The federal estate tax is going to lower from 12 million to 5 million in 2025, I think. So then anything over $5 million is taxed. However, the federal government is, believe it or not, looking at lowering that to $1 million. So when that's the case, then almost everybody, especially if you live in Monterey, is going to be subject, and own a house in Monterey, is going to be subject to estate taxes because your home's going to be $1 million asset. That will then, let's just say, is exempt from federal estate taxes. Everything else is subject to federal estate taxes.
That's right.
Bank accounts, cars, everything.
It adds up
Yeah.
quickly.
The more you own, the more they take. And here's what I was talking about. The top tax rate, 40%. So that's stuff over 12 million, 5 million in a couple of years, possibly 1 million. 40% of it is what the government gets, the federal government. We're not talking about the state government yet or any other court fees. So
Right.
there's a state estate tax, Leah. What is
Yeah,
that?
additional tax imposed on your state. And it really just depends. Now, those guidelines are a little bit different than the federal taxes. Usually they're much lower. On your estate will be taxed according to the state that you reside in. Now in California, we don't really have that, but we do have other things
Yeah.
on top of that.
And then there's also state inheritance tax, in addition to state estate tax and federal estate tax. Those are hard to say. But that's another tax on the beneficiaries of your estate, your legacy. They now have to pay to receive the money that you've left them.
Yeah. And we feel like we've already paid our taxes on
And that's
that.
on money you pay taxes on,
Right.
yeah. So here's a list of the states that have estate taxes, inheritance taxes, both estate and state and inheritance tax, hard to say. And you see, we don't have that in California if you're in California. However, if you own property in one of these other states, you own rental income in Illinois, or you have a house or condo in Hawaii, you're
Right.
going to be having to pay state estate taxes in those states. So how do you prevent these transfer costs from taking away from your legacy, your estate, your stuff? It's a comprehensive living trust plan.
Right.
That'll help minimize all these transfer costs, leaving the most amount of money to your beneficiaries. Why does everybody need one?
Well, you know what? It helps to minimize or eliminate those transfer taxes and provide an orderly family business succession. If you own a business, it becomes even more important to own a proper living trust and properly funded living trust. Also, plan for incapacity. It's not just about if we pass away. If we're unable to speak for ourselves, you know, I had a nephew that was in a coma for 3 months. You know, how do you communicate your wishes? If you don't have those documents in place, that can be very, very tricky. Avoiding probate and the probate process. Remember, probate can be a very agonizing process, costing you money, time, and putting a lot of stress on the family. I know many families that have been decimated simply because of the arguments that can come up. And then also promoting charitable cause. When you pass away, do you have somebody or something, an organization or a church that you would like to leave funds or assets or monies to?
So let's talk about the business. If you own a business, how's that succession plan work, and why do you have?
Really important. And you know what? If somebody owns a business, we are investing our hard-earned time, money, efforts to create this business and to make it successful. However, most businesses, I think it's over 50% of businesses will actually be destroyed and have to really go out of business. I think it's like over like 50% or something like that.
Yeah.
So having a proper succession plan is vital if you own a business. What can we do? So if you own a business, maybe you have a family successor, somebody who is working with you right now currently in your business that is part of your family. Well, we have to have a strategy in order to transfer that business into their name. Maybe it's predetermined plan, maybe it's something that we will leave for future planning, but the documents have to be in place now. Maybe it's somebody inside the business currently. That could be a key employee or somebody that you're mentoring and training to be able to take over the business at some point, or maybe it's an outside sale. Listen, if you're going to sell your business, you have to have it a true evaluation done of your business. What is it truly worth? We might think it's worth millions, but maybe that isn't the actual, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's very, very valuable and you're not aware of that. We have to establish those strategies and those agreements on how we're going to calculate the worth of the business and how to liquidate it. You know, maybe it's funded by dollars that you have in the pocket of the business, or maybe it's an outside source like legacy with a living trust and also your life insurance, buy-sell agreements, key mans, and things like that.
Yep.
Really important. You know, there's a lot of different ways to structure life insurance. It's not just for leaving money when you pass away, but it can be used to mitigate taxes. It can be used for business planning. It can be left for your children as your legacy. It can be used to be left as a charitable cause. And generally, life insurance does avoid probate.
If it's structured correctly, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it can be used for all of these things we were just talking about, income replacement, paying off debts. The nice thing about life insurance is it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's if you have life insurance and you were to die, your family sends in a life insurance to the life insurance company, a death benefit, within 30 days you're going to have that check. And it's going to be income tax free and typically probate tax free. So, and that can be used for instant liquidity that you might need. It's guaranteed and self-completing in that you pay the premiums, they guarantee to sell it. They give you the $1 million policy if you have it. So you could get a term life insurance policy, pay $100, die, and then your beneficiaries are going to get $1 million. Pretty good deal. But you got to qualify medically with life insurance.
That's right.
And again, it's typically not subject to probate. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, let's take a look at two scenarios. So when we talk about living trust, wills and living trust, and estate planning, you might think that everybody kind of gets the same thing, but these are really very customized and situational. So let's take a look at two parents, two mothers, Mother A and Mother B. Mother A is a single mom. She has two children under the age of 10, and she owns a home, and her net worth is about $70,000. And Mother B looks like, before we peel back the onion, she kind of looks like she's kind of in the same situation. Yeah. But when we take a closer look at this, we see Mother A, her husband was a veteran, and he died while on tour in Iraq. Her children were too young to remember him much, so they're going to want to preserve his legacy, his stories, pictures, photos, and his wishes that he wanted to leave, his legacy he wanted to leave for them. And also, she has a very supportive family. So that's a very unique situation because she has those infrastructure in place that can help her to support her to raise her children. Mother B is in a totally different situation. Her ex-husband was an abusive alcoholic, and he left the family because of an affair. Okay, whatever that is, it is. But here's the point of this. Now she has sole custody of the children, and she probably, if she passed away, doesn't want to expose her children to that, and probably needs some plans in place to protect her children from him. And she doesn't have other family members who are there in place that can pick up the shortfalls when she's not here. So if we don't have the proper legal documents in place, her children could end up in a very bad situation.
Yeah.
Foster care and stuff like that. So it's vital. So
a little bit about us. LSPN is a large network of attorneys throughout the country. Award-winning law firm, over 110 attorneys in 38 states, 12 languages that they can offer. The basic info and resources, basic assisted plan, business planning, special needs planning, these are all the things that the attorneys can do depending on if you need to have them done, incapacity planning, international planning. What LSPN assisted plans include are a will, a living trust, medical directives, power of if you go into a coma, you're not able to speak for yourself. Do you want life support?
Yeah.
HIPAA release forms. Who gets information about you while you're in the hospital? HIPAA now, everybody I think is familiar with HIPAA. It kind of prevents, documents have to be signed. It kind of prevents a wife from seeing what's going on with her husband in the hospital. So we help with that. financial power of attorney, a mobile notary. Everything's got to be signed by a notary. They come out to your house or your place of work and sign that. It includes a complimentary initial consultation with an attorney. At that point, you decide, yes, this looks good for me. I'm going to go ahead and schedule a living trust design meeting with an attorney, and they will go ahead and design your living trust for you, because these are all designed separately and individually and differently, as that example with the two moms kind of shows. There's quite a bit of personalization in it. So again, what we do is we help prepare you and organize you before you meet with the attorney, answer any questions you might have about how this would work for you or why this would work for you. We can help you with the estate planning things, the life insurance, long-term care insurance, any of these things here. The loving will, that's kind of like the living will, the living trust. We can help you with all of that. So in conclusion, everybody probably needs a living trust if you have something, or if you have family, or if you are in a different situation like wife A and wife B, the ones that are widows. Helps you create generational wealth, and it helps you, what we do is help you to lose money to all the transfer costs. The cost of this is only $997.
So
if you try talking to another attorney office and called, it's going to be probably $2,000-$3,000 for the same thing, or more. And because, Paul, you are watching today, we're going to take another $100 off if you decide in some point in the future that you want to do this. And if you do, you would contact either Leah or myself. We will help you with this. There's our information, Leah's phone number and email, my phone number and email. Thank you very much for coming. Do you have any questions?
And really quick, Paul, you mentioned, are you a professional realtor?
I am sort of a professional. I'm the managing broker, but I don't actually practice selling this.
Okay. Okay. Is this something that you've ever considered offering to your happy clients?
In terms of, can you talk to me more about that? What do you mean?
So you come into contact, or your office comes into contact, and you help families with the biggest investment that most families will ever have in their lifetime, which is their home.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to add this additional service to help them to protect that asset, and you actually literally become the superhero that saves the day if they should ever experience a death or incapacity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's, yeah.
So I will tell you that I'm not sure that any of our agents are actually offering that as a service, but I don't think that it's a bad idea. I would be willing to have someone contact you guys and potentially maybe get you in front of some of our agents at some point, and be able to run through something of this nature, or something that you feel is more tailored towards their business.
Yeah.
Sure.
We will be doing that review every single year, and we will be reminding that family that you took the time to give this referral to for the Living Trust. We're going to remind them that the reason they have this in place is because of that introduction that you made, or that your office made. In addition, we can talk about, there's some compensation that we'd be happy to also extend out to your agents.
Sure. Okay. Can you guys go back to the slide with your contacts just so I can get a...
Oh yeah, you bet. Can you go back to the slide? Can you?
Where we going?
Back. There you go. Right there. Forward. There you go. Right there. Well, if we could ask you, Paul, how did we come together? Were you invited by Patrick, or was it myself?
I believe it was Patrick, the
All right.
connection on LinkedIn. So
Nice.
connected and kind of got a notice on the webinar, so I thought it was
No.
an interesting topic, so I decided to jump on.
Good.
I appreciate that so much. And since we're local, we'd love to just chat with you. We'd be happy to come out and do a training, an educational workshop for your staff. Would be amazing.
Sure, yeah. I will, at some point in the near future, shoot you an email with my contact, and we can stay in touch on it.
Great. Do you have any other questions? Anything else that we can answer for you?
No, I think you guys gave some good thinking points, and I just need to think through it, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much for your
All
time.
right, Paul.
I appreciate
Thank you
it.
for coming.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.